As a young adult, I was forced to go to church every Sunday, even though I didn't really believe the teachings that there had any merit. I would go and enjoy the social structure that comes with attending a church, but the theological aspects were uninteresting to say the least. At 16 years old, I found myself living with my uncle in Arcadia, which is in California, after running away from home. I shared a garage with my cousin, who was a year older than me, while we remodeled the house that my uncle was living in. My uncle went to a large Nazarene church nearby that had over 2,000 members. For 2 years, I went with him. I enjoyed the company of a large youth group, but I still had no desire to become a Christian. After living with him for the remainder of my high school years, I moved out to Riverside to get to know my mom and her side of the family. I started going to the local junior college, and there I had my first introduction to marijuana and the culture that goes along with it. I originally started smoking because I was too square, and I was living around people that didn't trust anyone that was squeaky clean, that didn't have any dirt on their shoulders, as the saying goes. Marijuana was my ticket into a world I had never experienced before. I was 19 years old and living a completely free existence during the week, but on the weekends I was still going to church with my aunt and my mom. I remember sneaking out of sermons to go smoke with the other young adults, getting a perverse pleasure from deviating from the norm, being a nonconformist. It was only after my first experience with psychedelics, that I had a spiritual awakening of sorts. This is what I spoke about in my first video in the spirituality series. I was 27 years old, and I finally sat down and read a Gideon's Bible that someone had given me. This was my first time reading the Bible outside of a church setting, and the Gideon's Bible consisted of Psalms, Proverbs, and the New Testament. I read it through 2 or 3 times, trying to figure out how I fit into the reality it presented. I don't know how you view reality, but I had read science fiction and fantasy predominantly for the 15 years leading up to this point. One of the realizations I had regarding the stories I had read came when I began putting myself into the shoes of the protagonists. Learning to experience life through the books, I lived hundreds and thousands of lifetimes through the use of my imagination and through the exploration of the dreams that the writers had crafted onto the page. I realized at this point that the writers were using these out-of-the-world settings to examine real-world issues, and that what I was reading was actually a reflection of the reality through the lens of the writer. I took this understanding and I applied it to my reading of the biblical stories. Thank you for watching. This has been part 2 of A Road to Spirituality. If you like this content, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below. If you'd like to see more of this content, please subscribe to this channel. Have a nice day.